How's it going, guys? Woo! Okay, so I just got done talking with Anna. We're going to start this here now. We've been talking for the past 30 minutes just prepping, and it's been pretty good discussion back and forth for the most part. A little heated, but it's fun. Alright, guys, this is Kingofpol here. So, this video, by the way, was Male Trope. It's done by Male Trope. If you want to watch it or continue the rest of it, he's got another video on Jonathan McIntosh. It's very good if you are interested in that kind of stuff. So go check it out. What happened to my... I'll explain all that at the end of the stream. So I'm going to pull in Anna now. And then after that, I'm going to pull in Sargon right afterwards. I'll let them announce themselves and we'll go from there. We had an interesting topic about harassment. We're going to be talking about GamerGate and the women in video game trope. And more importantly, the harassment of women by GamerGate, quote unquote. And whether or not that's true or not. And finalizing up the political understandings of feminism and social constructs and all that kind of stuff with her, and then hear her side of the story. So I'm going to go ahead and pull Sargon on here now. And if you guys would like to go on KIA, 8chan, all that kind of stuff, promote this stream, this is very important. These are bridges that needed to happen for it and for GamerGate. There's a lot of shit that's happening in GamerGate, guys. You know, there's a lot of drama that's going on. I understand that. I know that there's a lot of falling outs, and there's a lot of people trying to figure out what's going to happen, where you're going to go, what you're going to do. I think it's important that these are the kind of things that will deter us from that drama, that will deter us and push us into the progress of moving forward. And if you do care about GamerGate, you will promote these kind of things. So, okay. I'm going to get Sargon in here now.
Yo.
What up, buddy?
Yeah, well, good, man. How you doing?
I am awesome. I just got done talking with Anna here. I'm gonna get her in here in a second. We did a good discussion for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Cool.
Alrighty, let me pull her in. We were talking about Jace and Brianna Wu and harassment and stuff like that, women harassment at the time.
Right. Okay.
And
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. We had a little bit of sound problem in the pre-interview, but hopefully we're good this time.
Yeah, we should be just fine. Now,
okay, cool.
Anna, before I even start everything, I'd like you to introduce yourself, tell who you are, what you do, and your beliefs and things, and anything like that. Anything you want to share. Anything you want to share, really. Just.
My name is Anna Merlin. I'm a reporter at Jezebel. Obviously, I'm part of the sinister social justice conspiracy, wherein lizard people try to enslave you all and make you into feminists. Sorry, I'm not. So I have been at Jezebel for about 6 months. I've been watching the GamerGate thing for a little bit longer than that, and so you and I, Brian, had a conversation a little while ago about Jace Connors and what happened with him threatening Brianna Wu and then turning out to be not a real person. And so I had agreed to come on and talk to you about that on a stream. So here we are.
All right. There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think most people know Sargon, but if you want to announce yourself, Sargon, you're more than welcome to.
You all know who I am.
Okay.
I don't need that.
All right. So I guess do you want to continue off of the Jace, and you want to jump right back into it?
Sure.
With the Jace stuff, we were talking about how a lot of people claim that it was, oh, she should have known it was a prank and stuff, and you were talking about, well, then it should have been known that it was a hoax and not called a prank. I would say that's definitely accurate. I think that's more appropriate to say it was more of a hoax than it was a prank, because they were doing this whole skit for so long and nobody knew. I mean, even the boards that were obsessed with this guy, no one knew.
Right, I think that's, and you know, you and I were having a discussion on Twitter or whatever it was about, you know, like, how the fuck was anyone supposed to know? Right. You know what I mean? And I also think that, you know, he wasn't, I think he was playing off sort of GamerGate's, let's be nice and call it interest in Brianna Wu. You know what I mean? I think he knew that that would buy him a larger audience, and he was playing off her, you know, her fear of him, which I think sucks.
I think it was just him trying to troll and literally make it look like that was what it was. A lot of people, like I said myself, and I got a lot of crap for it, was like, here's a hospital, go here, go to the police. I mean, on air, we called the Boston State Police and said there's a car wreck. can you guys, we don't know what intersection we're trying to find on Google Maps. I mean, we kept calling and trying to get more when we had his friends on. So, I mean, it was like, we want this person turned in. GamerGate here is working with you guys to help this person and make sure that she's safe. Nobody in GamerGate wants anybody dead or harassed or anything like that. That's never the case. And that was...
I mean, what do you think the goal is? Like, what would you say GamerGate's goal is regarding, like, Brianna Wu?
You know, I'll let you explain, Sargon, because I already explained on my end with you, Anna.
None at all. She's not a journalist. Why would GamerGate have anything to do with Brianna Wu?
I mean, would you deny that GamerGate has been pretty focused on 3 women who aren't journalists? You know, Zoe Quinn is a developer, Brianna Wu is a developer, and Anita Sarkeesian is a commentator. So why is it that these 3 women have become sort of central to GamerGate's discussion about ethics in journalism? How did that happen?
Well, that's a really good question. Would you like to give me your opinion of that before I go on?
No, not really. I don't want to get sidetracked. How did that happen?
Well, it's happened because the gaming press, who are currently under accusation, and are they under accusation at this point? It's all pretty cut and dried at this point. But they're frankly
hiding. What is pretty cut and dried?
Well, ethical violations.
Which ones?
Do you want a list?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Who would you like to have a list of? Should we go for Nathan Grayson?
Yeah, let's talk about Nathan Grayson, sure.
Okay, well, what exactly do you know of Nathan Grayson?
I mean, I know that the allegation is that he wrote, a positive review of Zoe Quinn while he was dating her, but...
That's not the allegation, actually.
That was the allegation initially. Has it changed to something else?
That was not the allegation initially.
What is the allegation?
The allegation is that he gave her positive coverage, which he did, twice, at least, without disclosing any kind of conflict of interest, any kind of personal relationship. Do you think that that's appropriate for a journalist?
I mean, first of all, I would say, like, I know, obviously, like, I work in the same room with Kotaku, but I don't, like, I don't work with them. I wasn't working there at the time, but from what I can tell, Grayson, wrote, like, 1 half sentence about Depression Quest existing. I wouldn't count it as positive coverage. And initially, when GamerGate was starting out, I mean, I don't see it. I've never seen that. I've always, seen it represented that way.
Just to interject here, Anna, he was also credited in the credits as one of the game people. What was it again, Sargon? I can't remember what she typed it as.
Depression Quest.
No, in Depression Quest, he was accredited in Depression Quest.
Oh, he was a playtester for the game.
Yeah, he was also playtesting the game that he never announced either when he was talking about Depression Quest and following on that suit. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, can you say that this isn't a problem as a journalist?
I mean, again, I would really question your sort of, like, starting point, which is that Nathan Grayson gave her all this positive coverage. Like, I don't see it. I've never seen that proven. I've looked for it a few times. I do see that Patricia Hernandez at Kotaku wrote about Zoe Quinn quite a bit, but Nathan, not so much.
Well,
I don't see it.
He did mention her in an article very favorably, and he also did the same Rock Paper Shotgun article.
The one that I'm seeing, the GDC, no, that is after GamerGate broke. I mean, I'm literally looking in Kotaku's archives right now, trying to find a Nathan Grayson article that's about Zoe Quinn, and I don't see it. And it hasn't been pulled down, I know that. It's just like, I feel like the starting point here, which is that, so what is the implication here? That Zoe Quinn got... No,
it's nothing to do with Zoe Quinn. It's everything to do with Nathan Grayson. Yes, really. It's everything to do with Nathan Grayson. He should not have been covering Zoe Quinn at all. He had a personal relationship with her. Are you a journalist? Have you had any...
I am a journalist. Yeah, okay, so, I went to Columbia.
So you should understand that if you should recuse yourself from covering subjects who you have a personal interest in. Do you understand that? I mean, do you think that's correct or not?
Yeah, that is correct. I wouldn't phrase it like that. Personal interest suggests that you should recuse yourself from covering anything that you have an opinion about. But I would certainly agree that, like, after they were dating, he should not have been covering her, and my understanding is that he was not. After they had a personal relationship, he no longer wrote about her, which I think is appropriate.
I don't know if it's necessarily about them even dating. I think them just being friends should be enough for him to recuse himself. He can hardly be impartial, can he?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, so I think that's interesting. But so from my perception and the perception of a lot of people is what happened was all of the harassment and all of the vitriol was focused not on Nathan Grayson, who supposedly is the person perpetrating the ethical violation here, but all of it was focused on Zoe Quinn. And it was focused
because Nathan Grayson refuses to talk.
Is that why? You don't think it's...
absolutely. No, absolutely. Ask Milo Yiannopoulos. Ask him if Nathan Grayson will talk.
I think that's interesting.
Just to let you know, he flat refuses. He flat refuses. Stephen Totillo refuses to hold him accountable for this lack of disclosure, and so the public at large are just left with a slap in the face.
Again, I don't think that is true. I do think that they, you know, undertook a pretty serious review of his work and found
lying or what? I mean, I don't understand what you. There is nothing about what I've said that's factually incorrect. So I'm wondering what exactly is your interpretation of this?
My interpretation is that he stopped writing about her after he had a conflict of interest, which is appropriate. But
he was friends with her when he was writing about. Okay, well, what about Robin Arnott?
I'm sorry, who is that? Robin who?
Robin Arnott is a man that Grayson's covered, I think, about 6 or 7 times, with increasing favoritism. I think they're personal friends. And again, Grayson hasn't disclosed that at all. But now, since GamerGate, if you look at Grayson's articles, he actually discloses when he's covering his friends, which I suppose is the bare minimum. But I mean, do you not see... I mean, and this is just one person.
Yeah, we could go into Patricia Hernandez, and her, I mean, she literally linked to Steam pages with people she was living with. It was...
And that's just at Kotaku.
Okay, so the idea here, it sounds like, is that because of GamerGate, you guys, and this is the claim I've heard repeatedly, is that because of GamerGate, you've made the games journalism industry more ethical, better about disclosing what might be perceived as conflicts of interest. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Categorically.
And so how do you explain the sort of increasing harassment of people like Anita Sarkeesian and Brianna Wu? Like, how did that happen? Why have they become, you know, the objects of so much controversy?
Because the gaming press will let them be.
What?
Because the gaming press will let them be.
What does that mean?
Brianna Wu, as you said, is a developer. So why is she involved with any of this? Brianna Wu has been playing the professional victim all over Twitter. She has been playing the professional victim all over the media. And it is much more in the favour of the games journalists to let her do this and help her along her way, because it distracts the public and everyone from the actual issues we want to talk about.
What actually happened is Brianna Wu created that oppressed GamerGator meme, essentially, and the next day she got doxxed.
Well, hold on, I have to interrupt.
Pretty much the next day there was a cavalcade of shit about her, and it's never stopped.
And I have to interrupt. That meme was a joke against people who are autistic. I have to get into how messed up that was to begin with. And following it, that dox was taken down almost immediately, and it was sage bombed by that thread, by people saying, get us off our board, we don't want this on the board. And that followed with the rules of no more doxing, which created other boards that wanted to do that stuff. That was not GamerGate. That's what I was telling you.
Oh, so is the claim still that, like, 8chan isn't, I'm sorry to interrupt, is the claim still that 8chan isn't linked to GamerGate, that they have nothing to do with each other?
No, 8chan is its own thing. They only host boards. That has nothing to do with GamerGate. If there's a GamerGate board there, that is it. But they have nothing to do with any of that. The only times that Hot Wheels, the owner, stepped in of 8chan is when Brianna Wu would claim that 8chan is this or claim that 8chan is that to correct that. He's made statements to show, and he's come on camera before to show that, saying, no, that is not what we are about. We have been here 2 years prior to this board being created and this hashtag being trending. So that had nothing to do with any of it. It's the reason why when it was removed from that particular board that was made by anybody can make, but when it was removed from the GamerGate board, it became its own thing in an own other place that had nothing to do with GamerGate. But the hashtag, I mean, and those boards, they have referred to GamerGate people as gamer gays, as jokes, as everything like that, as let's mess with them, and people like recently, the most recent dox was the Ralph retort. He was doxed by these people because he was talking about Gamergate, and they didn't like that. They thought it'd be funny. So I mean, it's not like everybody is not in the same fence with this. It's happened to everyone.
I mean, to me, sort of what it looks like at this point is that Gamergate and sort of the Gamergate, I don't know, adjacent sites or Gamergate adjacent users are, I don't know, sort of turning on each other. Like we were talking about in the pre-interview, it sort of seems as though certain tactics have been sort of established, and now they're being used on everyone, gamers and non-gamers alike, and being doxxed is one of them.
Yeah, I'll let Sargon, you go ahead and you can take this one out. Okay.
Sorry, what exactly is the question?
The question, we're talking about how she was saying that the Gamergate it's kind of eating itself alive. That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
That mentality. That's what's happening now. There's a lot of people in Gamergate getting doxxed, and there's all this other stuff happening, and people are falling apart. All that kind of stuff.
It certainly looks like it.
I don't really know what to say. I mean, I'm not really bothered about drama on the internet. I'm really concerned about people who are being paid to advise me as a consumer on what products I purchase, because I don't have all the time in the world, which is why I go to gaming journalism sites, and I'm really concerned that they are frankly promoting their friends instead of promoting what is actually worth promoting. So I mean, I don't know, it could be that there is drama going on, but isn't that just a bit between individuals? I mean, Kotaku in Action's got what, 34,000 people subscribed to it now. I mean, how many of those are involved in that, do you think?
Sargon, didn't you get doxxed?
I did.
And how was that? I mean, you have a kid, right? You have a family. Was that frightening?
Not really.
Not really.
No. I'm not really afraid of what happens on the internet, because it happens on the internet.
Right. And so it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel related to your life.
Well, no, obviously it feels related to my life, but you have to understand I'm kind of in the wrong country to be worried about these things.
Right, that's true. That's a good point.
The question I have for you, though, how many people do you think are involved in any of this? And how many people do you think are, like, well, just really ignoring it and concerned about the media itself?
How many people do I think are involved in Gamergate?
No. Involved in the... You asked about turning on itself or whatever. Just, how many people do you think are involved in that?
In turning on themselves? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I see an increasing number of people who either say, that they've, tried to leave Gamergate and have been doxxed, or complaining about being doxxed, complaining about being harassed. I think it's revealing that, like, you were doxxed, that somebody like Milo Yiannopoulos was doxxed, people who have given favorable coverage to Gamergate. I mean, it seems like, well, I think, doxing used to be sort of like the beyond the pale, it was very serious. It was a really serious thing to do to someone. It used to be that, like, doxing documents would show up on places like Pastebin and disappear almost immediately because it was such a big deal. And now I hear about people getting doxed all the time. I was working at Jezebel for a month before someone tried to dox me. It wasn't Gamergate related. It was 4chan related. But this is something that used to be relatively rare, and now it seems like a tactic that is increasingly used.
To answer your question, Anna, people being doxxed on both sides, it's just to keep people quiet, to scare them away and stop talking about it. I mean,
I think that's true. Yeah.
And that's it. But once again, that's not Gamergate. That has nothing to do with Gamergate. Gamergate did not come out and say, yes, we doxed Sargon, or yes, we doxed me, or yes, we doxed Ralph. They were literally pushed off into these niche groups, like I've told you, that you could go look yourself and say, okay, this board or this person or these people are not this, and it has nothing to do with that, and nobody promotes that kind of stuff. People get really extremely angry. A prime example was, there's a writer at The Escapist now named Liz, and she was doxxed, and it was so crazy, it was so messed up that they pulled it all down and everything like that, and people actually got that pulled and pushed off because she had kids and all this other stuff, and it really did scare her and a lot of stuff like that. But people were able to fight that to try to get it off as much as possible. But you know how hard and impossible that is to do. When you it's gonna happen. It's the internet. We can't control what people do. but we can try to be better people along the ways and know what we do. I mean, that's it's human.
Yeah, what I think is fascinating though is to hear, you sort of completely disavow any link between the people that GamerGate pays attention to and them being doxxed. I think the best example is Sarah Nyberg, where she is not a game developer, she's not a games journalist, but as soon as she started criticizing GamerGate, she was doxxed, and she's been the subject of really nasty death threats because she's trans. We've been hearing a lot of discussion about how that makes her a deceptive person. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as GamerGate turned their attention towards her, it sort of pointed the trolls in her direction.
I think that's a really unfair statement to make. Are you talking about someone who goes by the name of Sarah Butts?
Yeah.
Yeah. What exactly do you know about this person?
I know probably what you do as far as what she's put on Twitter, but what I've seen,
right?
And what she's written about.
Consider Sarah Butts any kind of provocateur then?
No, I would not. Oh, are you saying she's like an agent for?
No, I'm not saying she's an agent.
You consider her a provocateur?
I'm saying that she deliberately provokes. You think that's accurate?
No, I don't. I mean, it seemed like she was criticizing GamerGate's tactics towards people like Zoe Quinn, and immediately became the subject of some pretty serious harassment and doxing herself. It was happened within like a day.
That's a narrative I frankly don't believe, and I don't think that many other people.
Of course not.
Well, no, hold on, Anna.
It's not, of course not. It's the reason I don't believe it is because I have observed and directly interacted with Sarah Butts, so I know what Sarah Butts is actually like. So,
what is she actually like?
She's a provocateur.
In what way?
In the way that she will lie to try and provoke a reaction.
What are the lies that she's told?
I don't have a list of them off the top of my head.
Okay, I mean, that's a pretty...
And Anna, I recently talked with her as well, and when she got doxxed, she found out that I called her number to let her know to change her number to be safe. I don't know. None of her docs were a part of GamerGate, and when they were removed. Her claims of it, when she gave me an article, I talked with her recently, and saying, okay, well, can you do this and that? Her article had no sources, no links, it was just her experience with GamerGate, but she didn't have any proof to show that it was GamerGate. Her proof was pseudo archive. It wasn't even archives. It was like paste bins or random things that anybody could just type up on a fly. No one would know if it's true or not, whether it is, and nothing can account for it. And then when I asked in the middle conversation, I added in the Twitter conversation the owners of the GamerGate people that she claimed that allowed this to happen, and they proved that they did not allow it to happen. In fact, they removed it, and that she's not trying to talk about this. And she completely ignored it when I asked her to come on to discuss these things. I've reached out to her multiple times to discuss things. Said, come on, and you can discuss your side of the story, explain to people what's going on, and if it's true in GamerGate, we will try. GamerGate will make sure that doesn't happen. That's the point. But she didn't want to do that. She didn't believe that. She just wanted to sit there and continue on with her stories and write her blog and continue to write this narrative that wasn't right. It wasn't factual, and most of it was just, it's kind of hogwash. You're kind of sitting there going, okay, well, you've had your chances to show people what you're talking about, and instead you choose the other route. Why would anybody do that? But more importantly, she had nothing to do with GamerGate. She's not a journalist. She's not about ethics in journalism. Her criticisms were taken into account, and it was proven. And when put to the test, when we gave her just the same amount of criticism, she decided to turn the other cheek and claim that we were harassing her. And it's very odd because no one really did.
I mean, this is what I find, so fascinating about GamerGate is that talking to you, no one has been harassed. All of these women either made it up, or they brought it upon themselves, or it was a troll. Even somebody like Peter Coffin.
Hold on.
No one said that they haven't been harassed.
Okay, what so it has nothing to do with GamerGate?
As far as I can tell, and I've been quite involved from the start, I've never seen anyone who I know in GamerGate harassing anyone. I've never seen anyone from GamerGate that that's just tangential harassing someone.
Okay, let's talk about Peter Coffin.
Well, hold on. Peter Coffin.
I mean, I don't like
Peter
that.
Coffin,
I think.
Hold
okay,
on,
go ahead.
Hold on. Peter Coffin has nothing to do with GamerGate. None of these people have anything to do with GamerGate. It's going to be the same answer. No matter how many times we look at it, it's going to be,
I know.
They're not journalists. They have nothing to do with GamerGate. Peter Coffin making videos is him making videos. Once again, if you go to a board called Cow, that is his information there, or whatever's going on with him there. That is not Gamergate. It does not say Gamergate on it. Nobody's still using the hashtag. They actually, in fact, call people Gamergates. So there's nothing about that is Gamergate. What matters right now is journalists and who we're talking about. I think the next, if you wanted to talk about more stuff, you could talk about Movie Bob and how I had a developer who worked on the Mass Effect project on here who was afraid. He stated that if he saw Movie Bob show up at PAX or at GDC, he would have him removed because he believed that he was a neo-Nazi, anti-Semite, and he was Jewish, and he was very afraid for his life because of the things he was saying to him on Twitter. And now that is a guy who works at The Escapist, who is a journalist, and this is a guy who is going around berating other game developers because he doesn't agree with their opinions or how they make their games, to the point where people felt that he was not an anti-Semite, that he was going to hurt them at a games convention. And this is so that is what we talk about in Gamergate. That is what Gamergate is. Those kind of conversation is what we care about and what we strive for. Peter Coffin and Zoe Quinn and all that stuff, I told you before, there's a reason why we call them literally who's. Who are they? We don't want to discuss them. They have nothing to do with the topic. They're not journalists. They have nothing to do with anything about that. The closest thing they have is they might be friends with the journalist that we're discussing, but nothing more.
So you think it's just sort of a collection of people who have nothing to do with Gamergate, who just happen to be following Gamergate very closely?
Hang on. Okay, I can.
Hold on. Go look up the hashtag #A-Team. Those people primarily went around to harass these people or did these things intentionally for the lulz, and they openly come out and say it, and they think it's funny. Now, but they're not Gamergate. They are A-Team. That's what they call themselves. Another one is GNA. Another one was BWS. These people are there, and they openly announced that, yes, we're not Gamergate, we're doing these things, but we're going to use your hashtag anyway. It's an anonymous movement. You cannot control who comes in and out. Angry Joe said it himself in the best way possible. It is what causes a massive problem and what isn't. You have to focus on the good rather than the bad. The minority, or the majority versus the minority, and that is the truth. But they are not Gamergate, and they're not going to be Gamergate, and they're not journalists. So they're nothing that we're going to discuss when it comes to that stuff. They are just people who have gotten harassment from different types of groups that have no relation to Gamergate whatsoever.
Right, they just sort of happen to be converging on some of the same people that Gamergate are discussing.
And they also got caught in the firearms of third-party trolls, and it sucks. It's horrible, and I hope those people pay for whatever they've done, but it has nothing to do with Gamergate.
Okay, I've got a question. Were these people being harassed on Twitter before Gamergate?
Which ones?
Well, say Zoe Quinn, Anita Sarkeesian.
Anita Sarkeesian might have been, but no, none of the others were.
I think Zoe Quinn was, though, wasn't she? She's quite a polarizing figure.
I mean, I think that we can all fairly say that the attention on all sides to Zoe Quinn really intensified. Zoe Quinn became a national figure after her ex-boyfriend wrote a novel accusing her of cheating on him, essentially. You know, that's why she is well known as a victim of harassment, is because of what Aaron wrote.
But do you not think that she was receiving any kind of harassment before that?
Certainly not on the level that it...
No, I'm not asking about the level. I'm asking, did she receive it or not?
Did she receive any kind of harassment before Gamergate? To any degree? Given that she is a woman on the internet and is alive, then yes,
so the answer
probably.
is yes, then, yeah? And then she became a national figure, like you say, and then she receives more harassment. Is that surprising in any way?
Harassment to the extent that she left her home. She's actually left her home permanently. She has moved away, is my understanding, you know? And again, I find it's just really disingenuous to pretend like that has nothing to do with Gamergate. But, I mean, that does seem to be...
No, I'm not pretending that it's not to do with Gamergate. It is, but not in the way that you're suggesting.
So what Gamergate is somehow linked to the harassment.
Hold on, Anna. Just one side talk and then...
Suggesting is that people from Gamergate, for some reason, would give a damn about Zoe Quinn, which is the case. But what's happened is that the people within the media have paraded her around to a bunch of mainstream media outlets to tell her terrible story of how she abused Erin Joni and then was revealed for the abuser that she is. And then...
You would call her an abuser?
Of course she is.
In what way?
Have you even read the post?
Yes. It's quite a slog. I had to, stop for...
It is absolutely a slog, but then the point is...
I mean, do you...
beforehand, she becomes a national celebrity or an international celebrity, and then the harassment she receives increases. Is that a surprise? She becomes a national celebrity because she is being used as a shield against the accusations of GamerGate towards the press. So is it any wonder that, yes, technically, this is technically involved with GamerGate, but it's not the target of GamerGate, and she is being used as a defensive weapon against GamerGate.
And I think this is really interesting to me, because this is where we differ, is most people who are not in GamerGate, myself included, see GamerGate as having begun with that post, and I have seen people on the GamerGate hashtag say, this is about who Zoe Quinn slept with, this is about, saying openly that it's about Zoe Quinn, whereas it sounds like for you guys, GamerGate is about everything but the harassment of women.
I would say that GamerGate started when Milo Yiannopoulos broke out with the Game Journal Pro List, and Usher Williams started coming out with more interviews that showed different types of corruption collusion throughout the entire industry, mainly the indie dev scene. When indie devs started coming out left and right, and then some devs actually came out themselves, where many other people were getting harassed and shut down, and many discussions could not be even had. I think the Game Journal Pro List cannot be dissuaded from that. That is the main problem right there. 150 journalists from different types of sites talking about pushing narratives, dropping 14 different articles that gamers are dead, gamers are over, gamers need to go. That is not the crowd they want to cater to. And the catch to all that is that nobody's telling them not to make these games. Nobody's telling them that they cannot do these things. They can make their own games if they want to, but they want to change the games that are already made, and that makes no sense. There's no need for all that. If you have an idea and you want to promote it, you have awareness that you want to promote a campaign, fund your game, make a game, hire people to make these games for you to promote these kinds of ideologies, and that's what it is. Okay, if it's good, it'll play it. If they don't, they don't. If it's not, you can use this as an educational guide. There's nothing wrong with that. The point being is that there's corruption and collusion that was happening in a big way. I mean, it was huge, and it still happened. Journalists were getting ran and bullied out left and right that did care. The Escapists immediately came out and had to clean up a whole bunch of stuff that was happening even more. I mean, look at the stuff Jim Sterling said like 2 years ago, and the stuff he said, or like, what was it, 2010, 2011, and to what he said now. There's so much stuff that was going on, and it's still sort of happening now that has nothing to do with them. That is not GamerGate. The Zoe post and stuff like that, like I told you, it had its own thing. It was burgers and fries. That was what it was. It was not GamerGate. It became, and when the Game Journal Pro List came out and all the 14 articles dropped in August, that was GamerGate. That would be the beginning, and that was what happened. That Game Journal Pro List was too damning to show that it wasn't collusion or corruption. When you had Ben Kuchera bullying, who was it? Was it Greg Tito, Sargon? And
it was Greg Tito from The Escapists.
And The Escapists, with 4 other people talking about how they were going to make sure that things didn't happen, because he was allowing discussions that Ben didn't like. He was throwing his little shit fit, and he didn't like it. And that is down to the truth. And it's not the first time Ben has done it. He did it to the writer Eric Kane from Forbes. He's done it to many other people, and you have other different writers that have been involved with that as well. You have writers who have been caught on Patreon, particularly funding people like, if you want to talk about Zoe Quinn for a second, funding people like Zoe Quinn and things like that, paying into their Patreons in big ways, and then writing stuff about them and defending them and putting them up on this pariah. And that once again, that's collusion. And they're not disclosing it. They're not talking about it. That is what matters.
In fact, this was actually addressed by Stephen Totillo, who actually did put a moratorium on that. You
can't contribute to Patreons anymore.
Yeah, until GamerGate they were. Do you see what we mean about conflicts of interest and corruption in games journalism?
And it gets even worse. And you have a guy named Pinsov who was blacklisted, and the emails came out. He was blacklisted because by his boss, and he wasn't even told that he was fired. He showed up to work, and they played him like a fool. They had him already written off a week, and they blacklisted him. He couldn't get a job anywhere else. He's a journalist, and he can't work anywhere else because they decided they didn't like his opinion on this certain type of way he critiqued these certain games, or what he had to say in his articles. And they want him there anymore, and so they blacklisted him because of that. Now he has to get a lawyer to fight these people in court to prove that this is what happened. That this is my livelihood, this is my career, and I can't do it anymore because these assholes decided that and this Game Journal Pro List decided that this is what we believe, this is what we want. I mean, that is the problem. That's been the problem. And now, I was telling you, you got to look up UBM because you have IGDA and everything like that who are controlling the indie scene and stuff like that, and with Garma Sutra and all those other people, and they're being caught with the block bot, the whole scandal with the block bot, their own people being blocked.
I mean, you guys think the block bot is a scandal. I mean, most people...
Anna, you know what? The IGDA Puerto Rico branch shut down. I had an interview with that guy. He refused. It shut down. It shut down because of the block bot, because it caused so much stuff, and because they strong-armed those indie devs there, and they had to remove it. They stepped away. They had to shut down. That's a lot of people who are striving their careers, who are beginning their careers as game developers, and now they have nothing they can do now because of a block bot.
I'm an indie game dev, and I'm on the block bot. So what can I do?
What does being on that block list prevent you from doing?
Contacting people within the industry.
I mean, what it seems like is it prevents you from contacting people who sign up for the block bot, who seem to be mostly women in games journalism and games development who are tired of getting harassed on Twitter. The block bot seems to me to be a solution to the problem of harassment, not about shutting you out, not listening to you. It's about not getting screamed at by thousands of people.
Why would I be on
it? I mean, really?
Yeah, really. Why would I be on it?
I mean, I think that you need only to look at your behavior on Twitter.
Really?
Right?
Whoa. Anna, what is Sargon done?
If you're leveling an accusation, I'd like to hear it.
Oh, Lord. Okay, Sargon, why do you think you're on the block bot?
I know why I'm on the block bot, but I want to know
why are you on it?
I want to know.
No, I want to know. You know what? I'm here to be
I asked the question
Tell me why you're
Hey, hold on.
Actually, are you on the block bot? Hang on.
I am absolutely on the...
Isn't there a list?
Anna, hold on. Just for mediating purposes, so we can both hear each other and articulate things correctly. All right. The question. Ask the question again, and then Sargon, you answer. Then Anna, you answer his question. Okay?
Okay. What does the block bot prevent you from doing?
The block bot prevents me from talking to certain people in the industry that I may need to talk to.
Right.
For example, the IDGA for a start.
Okay, and so there's no other way for you to talk to those people except on Twitter.
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
You have no idea. You have no idea how to get...
Why should I be already accused and condemned on this block bot? Why should that be the case?
You see the block bot as condemning you? So this is...
Of course it is.
Elsewhere...
Anna, if you're on the block bot and you try to talk to IGDA, they'll look at that like it's a background history, and it's not a joke. There's other indie devs who come out and said, I can't do anything now because of that. I mean, they blocked their own people. Why do you think that the IGD Puerto Rico place shut down? Those indie devs they're done. Their career. I mean, if they can make Kickstarters and get on the ground, they will. And hopefully, I wish them the best. But they have no choice but to have to step away from the IGDA because of that block bot, and because of the fact that they can't talk to people in the industry because they look at that as if you got a felony on your record. And I'm not even kidding. And that is exactly how it was. The chairman. One of the IGD chairmen had to step down because of how bad it was. Yes.
I'm sorry, you just cut out. So in your view, the block bot is not about preventing harassment. It's not a service that people sign up for to keep them from getting flooded by GamerGaters. It is a tool to silence you?
That's different, right? That's different. You think it's not about preventing harassment. It's about preventing a political movement from being able to express their opinion.
Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what you said.
No, it's not. I think
you just said to prevent them being talked to by gamergaters.
No, I'm asking you if that's what you think that the block bot is for. If it's meant to silence you, if it's meant to push you out.
I'm saying that it's deliberately designed to prevent people who have a political opinion from expressing that opinion to certain industry members, whether they need to hear it or not.
And Anna, if you look, there's already pictures came out, people actually looked at the blockbot's code, and in there, it's even called blockbot, it's called blacklist. It's literally called blacklist, and it has a list of everyone on there that's blacklisted, and then indie devs can't go to IGDA, and IGDA hold all the reins of these things. They're supposed to act as sort of a union to indie devs, and so why would a union? What are they supposed to do? I mean, these indie devs, most of these people haven't even done anything wrong. It doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't even be an issue. It would be one thing, Anna, if it was just used by certain people who don't want to be harassed. That's fine. But the fact that it was made specifically by IGDA, the fact that it has the words blacklisted in it, and the fact that they treat it like it's a felony on your record, proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that that is blacklisting and strong-arming people who, I mean, if you don't agree with them, then they will just blacklist you, and you can't go in and you can't talk to these people, and you can't get the connections that you need. No one's going to take you seriously.
The perfect example of this is that there's a Twitter account called @GameJobsBot. It is a bot that retweets game jobs for the industry, and that uses the blog bot. So I wouldn't be able to apply for these jobs because of my political affiliation. Do you not see
with your political affiliation with GamerGate?
Yes. Do you not see that as a problem?
I think it's fascinating that GamerGate is now a political affiliation.
Do you see that as a problem or not?
My understanding is of how the blockbot works.
You know that it's a problem, don't you?
No, I'm not prepared to agree with you on that.
Do you think if I was part of if you were part of the journalist industry and you were being blacklisted because you're a feminist, would you find that acceptable?
So there's no way for you to apply for jobs or to communicate with these people except on Twitter.
Yeah.
I rather doubt they're going to listen, even if I do email them.
So the damage is done, even if the blockbot no longer exists?
Anna, to answer your question, in the games industry, just to give you some clarification, because it seems like you think you could just apply. In the games industry, it's very grueling for a lot of these indie devs. Out of the 40-plus indie devs I've talked to, and some of the AAA devs that I've had on here from EA and stuff like that, they've explained to me that, they even actually had an hour chart explaining, and I know, Sargon, you interviewed the same type of people, and they had the same explanation, that they expect these indie devs to make these extravagant projects like Minecraft and how that came out to be a $3 billion thing now before they even hire them. They have to make these on a game that's enjoy for them to be accredited. That is their resume. Their game that they create will be their resume. And if they don't create one, then they're probably not going to get a job anywhere that's worth a damn. They have no experience or credibility or show that they have the skills that these companies will want. A prime example was one of the AAA devs said, he was late for 1 minute. He was late 1 minute on a project. It cost him $250,000. And that would be grounds for firing. But he's so good at his job, and that he's so particularly, they know that there's nobody else like him and another industry in the industry that they are going to keep him. But that is just an example of why they're so grueling. And now with the IDGA blacklisting these indie devs, how are they going to start up off the ground? Unless their Kickstarter is wonderful or Steam accepts them, which that is another problem, and and greenlights them, that they're going to have a chance to do this. They have to do it on their own money. These people are living on borrowed time because they're used to living out of their houses or staying with their families and trying. I mean, literally, they're making games out of their basements, and these people are expected to do all this stuff. Are they going to go to the bank or go to a loan shark and have to get money out now to do this? Where's the help that they were supposed to be given? And now, because they have a political affiliation with a games ethics hashtag, these people can't get the help that they need or the assistance that they need or talk to the people that can improve their situations and get them in spots that may advance their careers. And who knows what will happen later down the road if they get there. That's the point.
So what I'm hearing is a long-term concern about how your involvement in GamerGate is going to affect you. Is going to affect your job prospects. Is going to affect your
frankly,
status in the industry.
The immediate short term is enough of a concern for me.
And so, have you tried communicating with the admins at Blockbot and trying to get taken off of it? And what happened?
They don't respond.
So, do you know who wrote the Blockbot? Wasn't it Randy Harper?
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that have you looked at her Twitter feed at any point?
So yes, I have. So the problem with the Blockbot is you can't communicate with Randy Harper.
No, the problem with Blockbot is that it ruins your chances. If you're an indie dev, it ruins your chances at a career. That is the problem.
It's an industry blacklist. That is the issue. I don't know how else I can make this any more clear, and I really think that you are arguing in bad faith by repeatedly trying to reframe the question in ways that I think are disingenuous.
I mean, I think it's disingenuous to say that GamerGate doesn't engage in the harassment of women, but you continue to make that claim too. So I don't know. I kind of don't know what to say.
I think that we've come to the point where there's no point carrying on then, because are you
quitting?
What do you mean? Am I quitting?
Are you giving up?
if that's how
I
you
mean,
want.
let's keep on. Let's keep on doing this. I mean, unless you really believe.
To what end? What good would come of this?
So, okay, if we're
No.
if we're
I
approaching the end here.
Don't ask.
I want to understand why you think that people felt the need to create a tool where they had to block.
I want to know why you won't answer a single question I'm asking you. I want to know what you think, what good will come of continuing this discussion. Answer it.
I mean, I think that maybe eventually, if we keep talking, we can try to figure out, what's next? Because I think we can both agree that GamerGate in its current form is, I don't want to say dying because I think that might offend you, but is changing shape, is becoming something else. So the question is, what is next?
Right. I don't think you understand what I mean when I say don't ask a question. I want you to tell me what productive use continuing this conversation will have.
I mean, maybe we can be friends.
I severely doubt that.
Anna.
See, there we go, Paul. Thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Take it easy, Sargon.
Thanks for showing everyone
Bye,
what you're
Carl.
Anna. Take care.
Okay. Well, that was very entertaining.
That was entertaining. So now are you ready to make your announcement?
Yeah. I understand, Anna, he did have a point. I can understand that you believe that GamerGate does harass people, and that's fine.
I believe it because I've seen it over and over and over again, and I think...
And we can argue that...
Yeah, we could argue it all day.
At the same time, when we show you, we tell you these things, that these are factual things, there's nothing that is going on, that what GamerGate stands for, what it is, and what it does, you just go, you find it interesting, but it's not... I don't understand how you can't sit here and say, okay, that is wrong. That is bad. I mean, I've told you that people have lost their jobs. People don't have career choices anymore. I've told you that there are people... No, I've told you that there are over 150 journalists that colluded together to write about how their entire audience needs to die. That needs to be taken out and removed. I've told you all these things, and you know these things exist, and you dismiss them as interesting. But I don't understand why that isn't more than just interesting to you. That you said you're a journalist yourself. That should give you some red flags at some points.
I mean, I think, when you talk about these articles about GamerGate needing to die, it seems like you're talking about Leigh Alexander, right?
Who? Oh, Leigh Alexander. Yeah, you could talk about her, but we're talking about the Game Journal Pro List. But yeah, she's a part of that. Yeah, she's a problem. She was a big, huge problem.
I mean, when I read articles like that, it doesn't sound like they're saying that gamers need to die or that gaming culture needs to die. It sounds like they're saying that it's changing, and part of the way that it's changing.
When you label it as gamers are over, gamers are dead, and you are talking about it, and then when you call them shitlords in the middle of it and things like that, and you insult them with vitriol words in your writings to your audience, and you're attacking your audience, when you can come out as Leia on the XOXO Fest and say, I insulted and attacked my entire audience, and I still have a job, and I'm quoting that, then yes, that she intentionally did it to attack her audience. But
isn't this an example of what you're talking about of criticism versus harassment?
No, that is not criticism when you start calling names to your own audience and you talk.
So calling names is harassment?
No, but when you have 14 articles dropped to suggest that everyone needs to be removed from gaming and that these people are bad people, I don't know. I don't say that as criticism. I say that more as, and then it's found out that it's planned, then it just seems more as a push on the media rather than somebody's opinion of criticism. If everybody's saying the same thing in the same day at the same time, and then 150 of them are in a call saying, "Yeah, look, guys, we all put out the same articles together," and then it gets published at Breitbart and shows that it's true, that is what happened, then that is not their opinion of criticism. That is just basically them pushing a narrative that they want to push, and it has been seen repeatedly, and it's going to continue to be seen. But I think we've gotten really far, though. I think I'm glad that you came on, Anna. I really am.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, I think we really, really fundamentally disagree about a lot of things, but I also think that in light of what you're about to say, it's really fascinating that you're saying that GamerGate doesn't engage in harassment or there's not a harassment problem.
And I think that's where we're always going to differ. But at least we can talk. That is the important part. We can have these discussions and we can act like human beings rather than people flinging crap all over Twitter.
Well, except for me and Carl. I guess me and Carl can't talk, but I did try.
You did try.
God help me.
Yes. Well, appreciate being on, Anna. I'm gonna go ahead and address the chat, and then I'm gonna wrap up.
Yeah, that's gonna be fascinating. I'll be listening.
All right, I'll talk to you later. See you. Whew. Oh my gosh, what a stream! Ring SFO on. Who's SFO?